Ooh, that looks tasty.
Hey, you see that over there? That looks like they got some gems. We should go get them.
Yeah, but they got a bunch of knights over there.
So what? We got ninjas. Welcome, folks. Today the Hunger Gamer is back with another Kickstarter preview, and today we are talking about Of Knights and Ninjas, a new game by Josh McBride and published by Blue Fox Games. Very briefly, what this game is, it is a take that style card game where you are doing your best to take all of the gems from one or both of your opponents, and the first player to get to 10 is the winner. Now, if you are not particularly interested in how this game is played, you just want to jump ahead to my final thoughts, then you're going to want to jump ahead to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us still here, let's break down what it is that you are seeing in front of you. I have the game set up for 3 players, and each player starts with 2 cards and 5 gems in front of them. I will say that there is a special 2-player variant that is a bit different, and I'm not going to talk about that, but it does exist. And before I go any further, I do also need to say, yes, I am still filming on the floor. Again, my wife and I are trying to move and sell our house, and with the staging and so on, I actually don't have a good table to film on, so we are still down on the floor. So what's going to happen each turn is, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just flip over the cards here so you can see what each of my 3 hands here has. And obviously you would not normally do this while you play. The way the game goes, and I'm going to start over here with my green player, is on your turn you have a choice of 3 different things that you can do. The first thing that you do is you draw 2 cards, though the first player to go only draws 1, but I'm going to draw 2 just so we can see more of what is going on. And so you see I drew a peasant and I drew a catapult, and I will add those here. And you have a choice. You can either fortify, and you can play a card that says fortify on it, or you can do an attack, and you must use a card that says attack on it to do that. So for the moment, I'm going to go ahead and play my castle here. And by playing my castle, that means that I cannot be attacked by anyone unless they either destroy my castle or they have a ladder to climb over the walls. And then I'm also going to play my archer here, and it will be here with my castle. Now what these 2 do is, the castle, as I've already said, unless they destroy it with a catapult or they have a ladder, they cannot get over it. And the archer is also a way to protect your castle, and I cannot be attacked by anyone unless they have an archer that first kills my archer, or if they have a ninja card. And then that is going to be the end of my turn. And I'm just going to flip these over, and I will say here that if I had no cards to play or I chose not to play any, then I would simply discard 1 card. Now over here, we have my next player, Pink here. Well, they'll start out, they'll draw their 2. They drew a king and a peasant. But what I'm going to do is, I know that over here, he's feeling pretty safe because he has all of this defense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my ninja here. And what that's going to allow me to do is the ninja will attack. Now the ninja does a special attack in that it's able to scale castle walls, and I can just kill the archer, or I can just have it go and steal 2 gems. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my ninja and steal 2 gems from my green opponent, and then I will discard this card right here, and I will end my turn. Now I have to end my turn because gems have changed hand. Anytime gems change hands, the turn has ended. So I'll take these and I will go ahead and flip these over. And then we come to my red player. And my red player will draw his 2 cards, and he got a double castle. So clearly what I want to do is I'm going to play a castle and I'm going to end my turn. And now you're kind of getting the idea of how this works. So next, I'll draw 2 more. And I've drawn a peasant and a dragon. And I will go ahead and go on the attack. So I'm going to use this catapult here to attack and destroy this castle. Then I'm going to go ahead and do an attack. Now, I could use the dragon, which could have burned down the castle and got me some gems, or I could use my peasants and do a normal attack. Now, peasants have something special that they are able to mob together and do more damage. You can send a whole bunch of peasants at once. And we see up here, this is their attack power. This is also how many gems they're going to steal if they get through. So I'm just going to send a peasant mob out to attack. So I'm doing 2. Now my opponent has a chance to respond. And we look through, and if it has a respond on there, they can respond with one of their cards. So I'm going to respond here with this soldier. The soldier's going to go out and meet the peasants. You'll see they have a 2. So they meet, they battle, and that is the end of the fight. And nothing has happened because 2 minus 2 is 0. Well, we're not done yet because no gems have changed hands, so I can keep going. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and just send my dragon. And that would burn down a castle if they have it. They don't. And then I take 2 gems because that, again, is how the dragon works. And that is the end of my turn. And then we're over to pink. And pink drew a knight and a castle. And what we know here is that if I have a way to get past this castle wall and this archer, this guy can't defend. But unfortunately for me, as we look here, I do not. But I am going to go ahead and just go on the attack. And I'm going to start out and I'm going to send my own peasant mob here against red. So I'm attacking with a strength of 2. Then red will defend with its king for 4. So 2 minus 4 is less than 0, so this attack is defeated. Both of them are discarded, and that's the end of that attack. If you are the defender, no matter how much more powerful your attack is, you do not take gems from the attacker. Now, that's the end of that attack, but gems have not traded hands, so the attack will continue if I choose. And I have these here. So now I'm going to go bold, and I'm going to send my knight. I would send my king, but there's only 3 gems here. So I'm going to go work under the assumption that red cannot defend himself. Or maybe red can defend himself, but I'm trying to weaken him up so I can get to my king. So I'm attacking with 3. And as we already know, we cannot defend because this is not a defend card. So they would say, oh, I can't defend. These 3 gems would go. But just for the sake of argument, let's say that I had a single peasant left over. You see it has respond. So I could send that peasant out to defend. 3 minus 1 is 2. The fight would end. 2 gems would go back to pink's hand. And so you see how this game goes. You play until one player has gained 10 gems. I will say that if the entire deck runs out, you reshuffle. But at that time, the winning condition becomes 9 gems instead of 10. And you cannot passively win. So you see here, I already have 9 gems. If we reshuffled, I would not just automatically win. Rather, I would have to still gain 1 more gem or have a gem stolen and then get it back. And every single time you reshuffle, the win condition goes down by 1. And I will also just add that there are many, many, many different types of cards in here. I'll just kind of flip through. You have things like the traders. You have the highwayman that steals gems that are changing hands. You have things that do special actions, which might let you take cards from other players, take half of their cards, part of their cards. Monk in there, the minstrel, there's a merchant that you can give up some of your own money and, you can give up some of your own gems and then you take half of another player's cards and so on and so forth. There's a whole bunch of different things in here, which I won't go into exactly what all of them do. What do I like about this game? Well, to start off, I enjoy this artwork. It is goofy, it's silly, it's wacky, it's cute all around, and I like it. It's not something that you're going to put up on your wall, but it is fun to see it and play, and it really does make the game feel light and goofy and silly, which I think it's supposed to. I also like the variety of cards that you can get. There are a lot of different things, yet within all those different things that you can do, it is still fairly simple as, again, you're either going to fortify, you're going to attack, or you are going to do a special action, and that is it. I also like the end of turn rule that once gems change hand, the turn is over. So that way you're kind of able to plan out your defense versus the attack, because if I know that I don't have many cards to defend with, maybe I want to defend that first attack so my attacker is able to claim just a single gem. So I'm saving cards and really kind of making their turn not that exciting, not that useful. So I think that's very clever. I do think the game plays smoothly once you get going. I also think that overall the variety of special actions and the variety of counters that you have for the particularly strong cards, like, the dragon is very powerful. Burn down your castle and steal 2 gems, and that's just going to happen. But on the other hand, if you happen to have the princess, you have stopped that, and now the dragon comes to your hand. If you happen to have the executioner card, you can stop anything that has a head. So I couldn't stop a catapult, but I could chop off the dragon's head, I could chop off an archer's head, I could chop off a peasant's head, whatever I want. And I think that's just fun and silly and a really good way to have counters back and forth. A way to say, ooh, I'm doing this to you, and then you say, no you're not. And I enjoy that. I think that is really a good way. I think that should be in all kind of take that kind of games. So what are my quibbles about the game? And I just have a few. The first one I'll say that is in the prototype rulebook I have, all of the different abilities of the various cards, the ones that do more than just attack or defend, are laid out in a confusing order. It's not alphabetical, it's not... Well, I'm sure there's some kind of order to it, but I just don't know what it is, and it can actually be challenging to figure out what each card does. And I do know that there will be a player aid, and I suspect that player aid will have it cleanly laid out what each thing does, but at the moment with the prototype that I have, that is not something that I was able to see. Speaking of what cards do, I do find it a little bit frustrating that it doesn't say on the cards what it actually does, whether that is via icons or something. But it is a bummer to me that if I get the ladder here, I have to go look up what the ladder actually does. If I pull the dragon, again, the only reason I know what it does is because I've read it and I've played a few times. There's nothing that tells me on this card that the ninja can ignore castles and can ignore archers and just take out an archer if you want. And the same thing with all these other cards here. The trader, what does that do? The highwayman, the herald, the monk, the minstrel, the merchant, the princess. I think I already said it, but the catapult there. And so as I'm flipping through, I think that's probably, the jester, I forgot about the jester, and then the executioner, the highwayman. And so it doesn't tell me on the card anything what they do, and I do find that frustrating. Just tell me on the card, and then if I can't figure out what it says, then make me go over to the player aid, not the other way around. Don't require me to go to the player aid until I have it memorized. So there you have it, folks. That is of Knights and Ninjas. This is a simple, quick, take that style card game. It is lighthearted, it is goofy, it is a fun little game to play. And I don't say little in a derogatory way, I just say little because it's literally a little game. It's just not a lot of stuff. Though I will say, I do have all these lovely gems here. And I think if you like the artwork and you enjoy Take That card games, then check this one out. It's not going to be very expensive. I think the limitations of the game are easily overcome and very likely may be changed in the production copies. And even if they're not, for a game that's not going to cost a lot of money, again, if you are into this art and you're into that little crazy, wacky little theme of ninjas and knights running around robbing each other, then it's worth checking out. So there you have it, folks. That is of Knights and Ninjas from Blue Fox Games, coming to Kickstarter very soon. As always, if I made any gameplay mistakes, please let me know in the comments with a timestamp and I will get that into the Klingon subtitles. As always, thank you so very much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.